looks like the Eagles get their first trade rumor of the offseason, and we have a lot to discuss regarding Bryce Huff, and probably not the best news to hear right now. And we're going to be talking about the Eagles cap space, what it's going to look like to start of the 2025 offseason, and restructures, because I do think the Eagles are going to be saving some money here and there. Howie Roseman moving some of these numbers around for some of these players, and what examples we can get out of that with specific players that I did kind of look through on the list. We're going to go over that right now, so let's get straight into it all.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope it's having a fantastic day. Today's video is sponsored by BetUS. Go check them out if you guys have not. Okay, so now, parade's over with. Now the ball is going to be rolling when it comes to offensive coordinator, but yet it comes to some of the moves that can be made. Okay, but we have some things to talk about. Our first trade rumor that did happen like a day or two ago, which we didn't really talk about. There was one by Kenny Pickett. Eagles QB Kenny Pickett has been linked in the NFL trade rumors to the Saints and the Rams. Obviously, the Rams, they might re-sign Matthew Stafford. They might trade him. I don't know. They could be in a quarterback. Could be in some kind of not controversy, but could be losing a quarterback at this point. Kellen Moore with the Saints. The Saints have a quarterback problem. The Saints they're over the cap 70, 80 something $million. That place is an absolute disaster right now. And Kellen Moore might be trying to trade for a player on our team for low draft compensation because he was around Kenny Pickett this entire year in 2024 as a coordinator for the Eagles. So I've said since the Kenny Pickett trade, okay, that potentially they could build his value up and then trade him if that's going to be the case. What can you get for him? I'm not really sure. I think a lot of Eagle fans, and I honestly don't know because they played against two of the worst teams for me to really say anyone really beat whoever had that backup job between Pickett and Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee looked better. Then he faced the Giants. He almost got picked off twice, and I don't think he looked any better. So, realistically, I don't know who I value more, and I don't know who the Eagles really value more as the number 2 quarterback, the backup quarterback behind Jalen Hurts. And obviously, signing a veteran backup quarterback is going to cost way too much money. So you want to get these guys that, could take over for a game. And I thought even the game where, Hurts got hurt, Kenny Pickett came in. He was successful. Then he really struggled. And then once Hurts was out for another game, they had Pickett and obviously, Tanner McKee split the reps in that next game, which I thought they both did pretty good. Pickett had the ribs. Tanner McKee came in. So really it's up to them who they think they have is the better fit for this offensive scheme. And I don't think both of them really showed too much, but we just got a sample size from both of these guys. I've always wanted to see Tanner McKee in preseason play as the backup because he never is. He always plays in the second half against the 4th-plus stringers, okay? He never plays as the backup in the first half in preseason. I want him to face some backups. I want Tanner McKee to face some starters. But like I said, they faced the Giants and the Cowboys, two of the worst teams in the league, two not very good teams. So it is what it is. So take this with a grain of salt. This is just speculation, but it wouldn't be a bad thing. I don't know what they're going to get for him. A 5th rounder. If they can get a 4th rounder, I think that would be too high. A 5th rounder, I think, sure, why not? Maybe swap picks or something. I don't know what the Saints or Rams or whoever's picks look like, but I would swap picks to get, because the Eagles between the 3rd and the 5th rounds, they have Houston's picks, Washington and Detroit picks. So they're going to be pretty low in the draft. So they want to try to at least trade with a team and maybe have a higher pick in the mid rounds, which would be nice. So we'll see what happens with this situation, but we'll see what goes down that road. Now I want to go over another thing. Okay, Bryce Huff. Okay. I don't know what's going to happen with this, honestly. And from what it looks like right now is that the Eagles will keep Bryce Huff. There's no report on it, but I'm just kind of speculating that it looks like they might keep him. $17 million a year. They might make excuses for him and say, well, he wasn't healthy and he was this and he was that. Before the bye, he looked horrible. After the bye, he was looking more promising, but that's just saying so much. That's just saying so much for myself. Okay. And then he had the wrist surgery. That was minor. And then he came back and he barely played. And Fangio said, nope. If Fangio wasn't even playing and Brandon Graham came back, didn't play him in the Super Bowl, he had like one snap in the Green Bay. I mean, he barely had snaps. Like he barely had more than 2 snaps. I'm not even kidding. Or he didn't play at all. So how do the Eagles really feel about him? I still in my mind, in my heart right now, that Fangio after Reddick got traded, okay, because they were going to deal with the holdout. Fangio had nothing to do with acquiring Bryce Huff at all. Nothing to do with Fangio at all. This was a Howie Roseman move. This was a panic move. This was let's bring him in and see what he could do. I mean, they paid him, but once he got to training camp, Fangio had his first press conference, and someone asked him, "Hey, is Bryce Huff a 3-down edge rusher?" And he said he's not there yet. So, what am I to take from this? I don't think you don't pay a guy from coming from a deep rotation and him looking like the way he did, but I just have a feeling like this is going to mess up a lot of moves for the Philadelphia Eagles. At least retaining Josh Sweat if they can, or some. I don't think this will affect Brandon Graham coming back because he'll be a lot cheaper. But I mean, you'll have to get if you want to get rid of this contract, you'll have to cut him post June. It'll be like 13-14 million dollars in dead cap. To me, it's like, is that a lot of money? No, but at the same time, they might extend him another year and then cut him. I don't know. I have no idea how they would lessen that dead cap number. But at the end of the day, if you're drafting well, who cares about the dead cap? You know what I mean? But you don't want to go crazy, but this is just a bad contract in my opinion. I don't know. Like, do I want to keep Bryce Huff as a? They have to do if they're going to keep Bryce Huff, they have to do something with his contract. I mean, you can't keep him at that salary. There's just no way you can keep him there. It just makes no sense to me and the direction they're going with him if they're going to keep him. So, if they try to move him, I'll be very happy. But if he was just making nothing and he was here as a rotational and see if he makes that at camp, fine. I have no issue with it. But because he's making the money that he's making, it's really hard for me to say, uh, he's going to stop us from doing other things at that position because he's making what he's making. No, I don't agree with it, man. So we'll see what happens with the Bryce Huff situation, but I haven't heard nothing on this. I understand the offseason is just going to start, but I'm wondering if they're trying to move this contract. I mean, I'd be shocked if they're not, to be honest with you. But it seems like he could stay for another year. They give him some excuse, they'll give him some excuses, and I'm hoping that's not the case, but we'll see going down the road, going forward. But if you guys have not checked out the Philly Shakedown podcast merch, definitely go check it out. We have new designs. The Jalen Hurts, the main thing t-shirt. If you guys haven't checked that out, definitely check it out. They are selling like crazy in all different colors, all that great stuff, high quality stuff. And we got a more expensive tee that has polyester fabric that people have been buying. It's been really cool as well. If anybody wants that too, which is amazing. And other stuff in our store. We have hoodies now for the main thing, t-shirt and hoodies as well. The new Howie Roseman, I Bleed for This City, which is another one we have here, and a lot more going down the line. So definitely check it out. Link is in the description for all that. Any questions, just email me on any of that. So I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for supporting both of us for the Philly Shakedown podcast. Now, okay, the next thing to go over, restructures for the Philadelphia Eagles. So from what I'm reading, I don't know if this is true because I'm looking at a million different numbers. So what I could say is the Eagles have $25 million in cap space. It looks like $9 million of that will be rolling over from this year to 25, obviously. So that'll give you a 34 million plus in cap space. Okay. So that's the number I have as of right now. And making some room to retain players, whether you're bringing Bond back, whatever they're doing. Oren Burks, obviously linebacker is a big one for this team. We've talked about it nonstop all year that, Bond has to be re-signed, and now it literally has to happen. So, from looking at some of the numbers and obviously Howie Roseman can change these things. He can move cap around and do different things. This is just from looking from a standpoint of who can you restructure on the contract that they're on right now. Number one, it's going to be Dallas Goedert, so they restructure him on what he's making. They free up about $4.2 million in cap space. This is the last year on his contract. Obviously, he's coming off that 4-year, $56 million deal, something like that. And through 25, this is his last year. He's $11.8 million against the cap. He's missing 4 to 6 games every season. The last few years, he's missed way too much time. I thank Dallas Goedert for being healthy in the playoffs. Thank God. But this is a big one. It's big against the cap, and you could save some money, but they're gonna have to do something with this. And I think tight end has to be figured out. Calcaterra will not be a starting tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. They might have to draft the future replacement going forward. I've heard rumors about Ertz coming back maybe with the Eagles for his last year of his career. I don't know if it'll be his last year. Heard rumors on that. They might not even really attempt to fix this position this season. But you want to have somewhat of a backup plan. So the draft could be a way to go. If you could find a tight end that potentially could be a starter going forward. So Dallas Goedert is definitely one on that list. Lane Johnson, will probably play for 2 more years with the Philadelphia Eagles. So Lane Johnson restructure, they could save $2.9 million with him. Jalen Hurts, they could do something with his contract. I mean, he's got the lowest cap hit out of any quarterback in the entire NFL right now. It's like in the lower 30 something million range with Jalen Hurts. So it wouldn't shock me if they try to do something with his contract, because all they could do is extend him and they could save more money and do different things. I think another one that they could do is Saquon Barkley. Now, this is the last year technically of Saquon Barkley's contract. His 3rd year in 26 is an option year. But this year, going into this offseason in 25, they could actually extend Barkley another year and probably save a nice chunk. So there's ways to do things. And when it comes to cap and moving money around, and the Eagles will never be under the cap. The Eagles will never be under the cap ever. Sorry, over the cap ever again. Okay, those days are over with. The Eagles are drafting well. The more you draft well, the more cap space you're going to have. The more cap space you have, the more moves you can make. And obviously, our financial stability has never been better than it ever has. It's been better than the past. The last, even before we drafted Devontae Smith and Landon Dickerson. Before that, we were in some tough, deep waters in those times, giving out contracts and not drafting well, and it was really bad, really bad. So it wouldn't shock me with those 4 guys going forward, and who knows, there might be someone else that they might restructure and stuff like that. Okay. To make room, to make signings. And it all comes down to that signing bonus, man. You give a big signing bonus to a player, more money up front, and then lessen that salary. It could help tremendously trying to get guys re-signed. And I think, obviously you're looking for maybe one mid-tier to big move. But other than that, your free agency is all re-signs. You're trying to get you can't re-sign everybody. You're not signing Sweat and Milton, and you're not doing all that. But what you're trying to do is, if they can get like 2 guys back on the defensive side of the ball and free up some more space, I think they're pretty much set. I could sit back, be comfortable, and kind of let everything go the way it is right now. So I think it's going to be really interesting going forward with this situation. And, we'll find out. And the time is coming, because free agency will be here before we know it. We're going to see if the Eagles are going to free up more space, which most likely they will. And, we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the Bryce Huff situation, the Kenny Pickett trade rumors. Do you like Kenny Pickett as the number 2, or do you think they're actually trying to build his value up and they're ready to trade him away if that's going to be the case? And, how much money do you think the Eagles are going to free up? And what do you think, who are they keeping? I know I ask everybody every day, but I always hear different things every day, different opinions on will they make a big move, a big splash move, or will they keep everything in-house going forward? And how do you feel about that tight end position going forward? Because that will be one, because Dallas Goedert's an unrestricted free agent after 25. So it's going to be really interesting going forward. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. And make sure you hit the like button, because it helps out the channel tremendously. And thank you for all the support. Let me know what you guys think. And I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up? Follow, slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.